Hello everyone, my name is Sasha. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. I haven't been posting it like consistently in a while, but I think I'm gonna start that back up again. Yes. But today we are gonna do a video. This is gonna be a longer video. I'm gonna go over different middle grade books and let you know if they are worth buying for like your classroom, your house, um, or if they are just like if they're worth buying. There are some books that I know for a fact, like just everybody knows about them. But I also will be going over like some of these books. I do see some of these books as like middle grade adjacent, and they're not. Like or like an author like an author like posts like similar books. I like a 12-year-old like books for a 12-year-old and like basically the same and then he posts like one popular series that's extremely popular 12-year-old, but then the rest of his books are like more for 18-year-olds type thing, and so that I'll let you know. And yeah, we're just gonna go through some of these books are popular, some of them are not. I'll let you know what type of age range that I think should read it, or like the youngest I think could be able to read it. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do today. It is a little like you'll understand as soon as I start talking, but all these books I do recommend. I do think they're good. So every single one of these books I think you should get, but I'll let you know what age what age you should be slash your kids or your students should be when they like for reading these. First series, I think this has recently become extremely popular. It came out like a movie just came out with it like about it, but it is definitely the Wild Robot series. I just have the trilogy. I think these are like the only books you really need to get. You don't need to get the newest one because like I don't know. I think it's like a lot of it was like $15 for like a paper, like just a paperback, a picture book. That's what they're called. But this follows a robot named Ross who is supposed to go to a factory, but then the ship like crashes or whatever you want to call it, and she like floats onto shore and like to this island and stuff, and she learns how to adapt, and like she learns how to adapt, and she learns about like the different animals and stuff. I think it's very good. It was a really good read. Um, yeah, it's very appropriate. I actually read this for a book club in third grade, and then I reread it actually while I was supposed to. I don't think I did actually finish any of these in third grade. Like, this didn't come out, but like, I don't think I actually finished these two for book club, but I did reread them recently. And I honestly think these are good, like, first time middle grade books. If it's your first time reading a chapter book, these are very good options. So, like, if you're, like, I think the first time they start reading chapter books is, like, what, second grade? Because they're not all just, like, words. It's, like, pictures, too. And, like, this chapters are really short. And it's not, like, hard to understand, like, the words they say and stuff, and these are actually very good. And I think it's especially for like when you start reading like chapter books, it is nice to have like a little picture, and also for like if you struggle with like visually seeing stuff, the picture does help a lot. All right, this top is okay. That's why I have a blanket on, if you're wondering, because this is a crop top, and so like I have a blanket on, so it's not like weird. Not weird, but like I don't even know what I'm trying to say. But next we have the Sunny Side Up series. Uh, the main character is in middle school. I will point that out. So it is pretty much middle school topics like Sunny makes a slash, she gets her first job. So, and then like Sunny side up, she goes to visit her grandpa. Swing It Sunny, her brother comes to town, I think. Yeah, I think this is the one where her brother comes to town, and it does talk about how he has to go to military school because he is caught with a cigarette and stuff. So this is like the one of the most like more mature reads, I guess. The none of the words are hard to read, I would say, but it's definitely like a middle, like definitely for more middle school, I feel. And then this one, Sunny rolls the dice. She gets into Dungeons and Dragons, and then one of them, I don't remember what it's called, but it's like she's in a debate. She starts a debate team for the first time, and then that's the fourth one, and then the fifth one, she goes on her first date. So these are very easy to read, but they are more for middle school type books. Next, I have Glider. This is a graphic novel. It has a bunch of short stories in it. It was a very good read. It is quite a simple read. It is very simple. I don't think any of the topics really are too like exclusive, I guess you want to explicit, that's the word. Explicit. I think you could read this easily in middle school. Oh wait. Some of the words are a bit bigger, so I think the topics in it are appropriate for elementary school, but some of the words might be a little hard to read. But yeah, I don't know exactly, like, because a lot of them, like, some of the names, like, Brimstone is in here, like, and some of the names of places are a little hard to read. They kind of remind me of, like, the German spelling for things. So I think that's a very good book. It is appropriate for elementary. It might be a little hard for them to read though. So just letting you know that now. I have this Lizzie McGuire book. I actually really enjoyed it. I think it's perfectly. It does follow like a high schooler, but I think it like the main character is in high school, but she is maybe she's actually in middle school. I think she's in high school though. I don't remember, but it's based off the movies. Y'all remember them, like the Lizzie McGuire movies? It's the same thing. Can't remember if she's in high school. Well, it's the thing where they did like CPR, which I did that in high school, so it's very much appropriate for middle school. I would say the words are not hard to read, but it might be better for like a middle schooler. I think in elementary school, student could read this book just fine, but yeah, I think a middle schooler could, no, an elementary schooler could read it, but I don't know if it would be the best for them. Next, we have these. These are Catwater books. These are definitely. I have books 1 through 6. These are short stories following this cat and his best friend, and they are a graphic novel, like graphic novel type book. These are very easy to read. They're definitely good for like the first couple, like the first books, like when you're first starting chapter books, like bigger books, like you're not reading picture books, but they're still pictures. Like a first grader, like I can remember, like I can remember reading similar books like this. It was like Pig and something. I don't, Elephant and Pig maybe. Well, I don't know. If I saw them, I would know exactly what they were. But they were very similar style to this, but this one is more graphic novel based. There's nothing too complicated to read. So yeah, these are very good for a beginner to read, and honestly they are pretty entertaining. Like, so they would be a good book to read if like your student is not into reading, I think. Next we have the Friends. This is like the Friends box set, but I have Real Friends, Best Friends, and Forever Friends. These are definitely I read this one, Real Friends, in elementary. I know that. And this one is definitely more okay for elementary, I would say. I don't think there's anything crazy. There's nothing uh crazy inappropriate. I don't think there would be anything like that went over their heads. There's a little bit of bullying and stuff like that, but nothing like too crazy. But then later in the series, um yeah, so like this one is set in 6th grade, this one's set in 8th grade. And then so this one I'm assuming is 4th grade. Because it's by twos. So this one is set in elementary, but these two are set in middle school. And I know in 8th grade, I know in one of them, there's a like one of the characters goes behind bushes and there's a make out scene. Let me see if I can find it to show you. But I think this one is when one of the main characters tries out for a play. And she definitely finds herself there. And she gets friends and stuff. Let me see. Maybe it's not this series, and I'm thinking of the wrong thing. And it just pictures her like, yeah, because there's partying and stuff like that. These are also just like Sunny Makes a Splash. These are like her story, I'm pretty sure. So I think in the back, am I wrong? I could be wrong. But like so like in the back it shows like how this is like real story and stuff. I think the first book, Real Friends, is perfectly fine for elementary. I think the rest of them are not. Okay, I would not. They are definitely more upper, like middle school reads, let's say. I'll go through these first. These were like really heavy. But I have Anna Green Gables, and this is a classic. And so it is a little kind of confusing to read. I think it's very good. Honestly, I think it would be good for like a class read, like like in the front of a class, a read aloud book. I think it'd be good for a read aloud book or reading it to your kids. There is nothing too inappropriate in here. It's about this orphan that gets adopted. Besides, oh, I just realized but like towards the end, her uncle or something. No, the guy who adopts her kind of dies and stuff. And it talks about her becoming a journalist, and it talks about her going to these books are not in order. And it talks about her going to becoming a journalist and stuff like that. But I think they're very good. It's an inspirational read, I would say. I thought it was very good. I definitely think that it's a good read aloud book or it's good to read. I think it'd be perfectly fine for elementary. Definitely upper elementary, I would say it'd be fine. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Little House on the Prairie, and that's me in elementary, so that's because I'm from Kansas. Next, this is the last graphic novel series. We have the Invisible is Emmy series. They follow a bunch of different characters and that go to the exact same elementary. So you're gonna see characters go in one series and then you're gonna see them in another. This is the first book and it follows Emmy, who's, let me see if it shows her. Okay, so it follows Emmy, who's this shy girl, and then it also follows Katie, who is a very popular girl at their school, and you just get their stories kind of. So this is Emmy, Invisible Emmy. Next, I have Positive Izzy, who she is a writer, and you're definitely gonna see her pop up a lot more. And this one follows Izzy and Brianna, and Izzy. What does Izzy do? I'm kind of forgetting. I know she's a writer because she shows up in later books as a writer. Yeah. I don't really remember what Izzy does, but I know she's a writer, and you can see her in later books. Same with Brianna. Like Brianna, she's in the next book. She is a Jewish character, so does show representation. I don't have that number in my phone. I'm just gonna ignore it. But so it shows her having her bar mitzvah and stuff, and I think it's the past and present of her going and getting her bar mitzvah done. So that's cool, very interesting. I'm not gonna go through all of these. We have Just Jamie. Yeah. She's finding real friends. I'm trying to do these. Okay. Remarkable. Oh, Truly Tyler. He's the guy that Emmy has a crush on, and it talks about him and Emmy, and then they eventually go on a date. Remarkable Ruby. She's in every single book, and she's you just get to know more about her. This is honestly my favorite, and it talks about her, and it talks about okay, that is Ruby. Her, and it talks about Mia, who I don't. And at the end, they find out that they're step siblings. Or it talks about how they're step siblings, which is a crazy twist. Then you have surprisingly Sarah, and she goes on a date, and it just shows her going on two different. Sorry for the dog. Two different versions of a date, pretty much. Always Anthony. He gets tutored, and it shows his tutoring, tutoring by this girl who is a a nerd, and he's very popular. And lastly is entirely Emmy. Shows Emmy and and then Joe and their enemies throughout the whole series, and then they start to become friends. So yeah, those are that is that series. I think it's set in middle school, but I think it's perfectly fine for elementary kids to read, upper elementary kids to read. I think it's fine. I don't see anything wrong about it. Yes, it talks about relationships, but you will see that in some of these other books that I will be showing you then. So yeah, I think those books are very good. And yeah, some of these next couple of books, they're definitely a little iffy. These next books, I will say, besides these next books are definitely based on maturity. I would say, all of them all of them. I will say personally, all of these books you can easily read them as an elementary school person if you have an elementary level reading, you could read these just fine. But some of the topics in them, and not in like necessarily the beginning series, but later in the series, are a little not elementary appropriate. Now, First Wave Anchor, I have not read the rest of the series, but I will say this one is very good. I don't say anything. It does talk about kidnapping. It is a very much middle school type book. I think some of the topics might go a little bit over elementary school kids' head. I would say like they read like a middle schooler would understand like it's probably the preferred age, but like her and her father get kidnapped because of this special book, like because like they have the ability to read, like when they read, characters come out. Next we have Harry Potter. This is actually the second Harry Potter book, not the first. But I would say the first two books are perfectly fine for elementary school. But the characters start at 10 and then they eventually grow, and like as they maybe they start, I don't think it's 10. I think maybe it's closer to 12. They like start because he's 18 in the last book. And so he's probably around 13 in the first book, 12, 13 in the first book, and then as he gets older, the content gets more mature. There's no sex scenes, I will say. There's nothing that inappropriate, but it does talk about relationships and kissing and liking girls and stuff like that. So I would say the first two are fine. Same goes for like the Percy Jackson series, and these are all like connected in the same world. Not all, but like, and also the other books connected in this world. Percy Jackson books 1 through 5 are perfectly fine for elementary school. There is a little dating, so nothing gross, nothing nasty. And also, I think they're perfectly good for reading wise, definitely upper elementary. Yeah, so I think those are perfectly fine for elementary. But then you get into the Heroes of Olympus series. These, I would say, are definitely a couple base series. Like, it's fantasy though, like completely fantasy. They go on these adventures. It's a group of friends going on adventures, but there is dating involved, and I would say the relationships, both friendship and dating relationships, make up 40% of the book. So that might not be completely. That's definitely, it's fine for elementary school. I don't know about. No, it's definitely appropriate for middle school. I don't know about elementary school. Same with the Apollo 13 series. I would say that's definitely more middle school. In the newer books where he's about to go off to college, I fear, like in middle school, in something I found in middle grade, as the characters get older, so does the content level. It gets older, so that's kind of just like how you want to do it. Next, I have Magnus Chase, and I can also talk about the Red Pyramid. I just don't have the physical copy, but I'm going to start with Magnus Chase. Magnus Chase series follows the guards of Asgard, and then the Percy Jackson series follows Greek gods. The god of Asgard, I had no clue what they were, and I had no clue what they were and who they were, but then I read this book and I know that I definitely learned a lot. I would say I knew nothing, and now I knew quite a bit because it's not confusing at all. The series does follow 16 to 18-year-olds. One of the people are actively engaged in the series, so it's not really like, I think it's fine for them to read, but it's not like maturity wise. It just depends on maturity, I would say. I think it's perfectly fine to read, and I think like words right wise and reading levels, I think it would be definitely fine for upper elementary, but it's honestly about maturity, and that kind of comes down to a lot of books for me. So I'm just letting you know that before you put it, like, if you haven't read it, there is a lot of couples and stuff like that. Sorry, that looked really weird. I thought my thing broke. I'm so sorry for that. But yeah, it's basically about couples. And I would say the Red Pyramid is perfectly fine. It's fine for upper elementary. There is a little bit of crushes, like having a crush on somebody, talk like that. I think it's fine. I haven't read all of the books, but I think upper elementary would be a perfectly fine reading it. And honestly, even if they have no clue what the topic's about, like, because the Red Pyramid follows Egyptian gods, they don't need to know a whole lot of Egyptian gods to understand it and be able to read it and stuff. And lastly, for this video, when you know what I know, this is not a very popular book, which is so sad because I think it's very good. It the main character, this is very much a very traumatic event happens to the main character, and Uncle essays her. It is very traumatic for her, and it just talks about her going through it. The content levels are perfectly fine. Not content levels. An elementary schooler will be able to read this. The writing is very easy to read. But I think it is like you should probably, like, it is based on maturity, I will say. But if you think they're fine reading it, you know them better than I will know them. So if you think it's fine for them to read, just let you know, the whole point of the book is about her recovering from an essay from her father. Not her father, her uncle, and her mom's not really believing her and stuff, which convinces her in her brain that she's not being, that, I don't know. I'm not gonna go through the whole book, because if I tell you exactly what it goes through, I'm just telling you reading the book to you. But yeah, I do recommend every single one of these books. I think they are all pretty good. I made this to let you guys know, because I think middle grade is one of the widest ranges for books. Okay, you either get 4th grade or you're 18 years old. And yeah, I just wanted to let you know, because some of the books are just like, even I didn't know, like, reading them, I didn't know how explicit. None of these books were explicit, so it's not like technically the right word, but like how, like, I didn't know that the book was going to talk about, because these are middle grades, all fall under middle grades. I didn't know that they were going to be talking about making out. I didn't know they were going to be talking about kissing, what girls they like, what they thought of guys. I didn't know they were going to talk about it until I read it. So I'm doing this to let you know personally what is talking about. Yeah, that's all for this video. I really hope this helps. And yeah, stay tuned. I am also doing a young adult video slash, and it's gonna basically give you recommendations of like different books and stuff. Later this month I will stay tuned, because will be making and I will be making another video similar to this, talking about stuff similar to this. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, rest of your evening, whatever you want to say. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.